Napa is the kind of show that does everything it can to hook you from the beginning. But the problem with it doing everything it can is that it wastes a lot of stuff it could have built up to, which for most shows takes episodes, if not seasons. While Kings of Napa decides, you know what, in order to get them early and get them quick, it's going to put everything in the pilot. To give you a brief of what happens in this pilot episode, the main things you need to know is that this whole show is focused on the King's family, and the majority of the King's family work for King's Winery, which is the family business. It's a business that August, the middle child of Vanessa and Reginald, technically founded, since she is the one that convinced her dad Reginald in order to invest into the winery, and that's how we got to where we are. However, while August is the one who found the winery, and Reginald, who was a surgeon, financed getting the winery, it's really Dana, the oldest child, who plays the CFO, who was the reason why the winery business not only got to where it is, but during the hard times was able to make it. But one of the problems with the family, especially Reginald, Dana, and August, is that Reginald definitely listens to August more when it comes to her pitches, her ideas, and when it comes to Dana, that's just the money guy. He keeps the things going while Reginald just looks at August for what's going to be next. And that's definitely an issue when it comes to Dana, and that causes animosity between him and August. And then when it comes to his dad, I should note that Dana is, I'm not sure what the political correct term is nowadays, but he's somebody that's of short stature, proportionate though. And with that, he has an insecurity about that when it comes to his father, thinking that his father doesn't respect him because of it. So when it comes to his father doting on August, and even making her the successor to the company, you can see it flares a lot of insecurities, a lot of old issues that, with Reginald dying in this episode, go unresolved because that hard conversation can't be had. And I should note, they do have a younger brother named Christian, but at this point, Christian just established as kind of the mooch of the family, who, granted, he does work for the family, so he does kind of earn his money, but from what we've seen, right now, all Christian worries about is what lady he's sleeping with and what designer clothes he can get. As for really helping the family, he doesn't contribute like August or Dana does. However, as we mentioned, Reginald dies, and that leads to August becoming CEO, while Dana remains the CFO. But there's another layer to it. When Reginald dies, that leads to Melanie, who is Vanessa's sister, coming out the woodworks, and her revealing that not only did Reginald owe her $10 million to keep the company afloat, if not for personal use since he might have had his own debts, but also Bridget, who's the Vangant manager, August's cousin. That's actually August's sister because Melanie and Reginald, while Vanessa was on a break from Reginald, had sex. That leads to a complete blow up, which has Vanessa banning Melanie from the compound, firing Bridget, and even maintaining her being fired when Melanie is willing to go down at least half from that $10 million just so Bridget gets her job back. But because Vanessa sacrificed her career to help Reginald with this business, and also with the family, she ain't having none of it. And while Reginald's sister Yvette, who doesn't work for the family, she got her own wig industry business going on, she's trying to keep things together. It's hard to say if all her efforts will be in vain or not, because it's not clear how much issues there were between Vanessa and Melanie before this reveal, but with her calling Vanessa a compulsive liar, I can tell you right now that that conversation that Daniela needed to have with Reginald, I'm pretty sure that Vanessa and Melanie, they will wait until death in order to even approach that conversation. And when that conversation happens, that's only because one of them is in the coffin and the other one isn't. In terms of highlights, the only real highlight for me at this point is Anna Vet. The main reason is Anna Vet feels like an outlier when it comes to this show. Everybody else seems very much on a blueprint. You have a very much Cosby Show type of family, Greenleaf type of family, where everybody's put together on the surface but are a hot ass mess behind closed doors. Anna Vet, on the other hand, is somebody who I'm trying to find the right word. Anna Vet is somebody who has more of an edge to her, and not an edge as in like she's gangster or anything, but she has a more urban vibe to her. Like Anna Vet is somebody who speaks about it. She knows proper English and can definitely code switch, but she's at the point in her life where she's established enough where she don't got to do that no more. And that's not to say that Reginald and Vanessa raised their family to be very bougie and airs and graces, but I would definitely say that that family is kind of adapted to the point where code switching for them would be talking into like Yvette instead of that being their natural language. So with Yvette not having that same need to fit in and assimilate, I feel like she's a rare character in a show like this, and I want to see what they do with her, especially in the long run. For right now, she's kind of a comic relief character, but with her possibly being the only person who can bring Vanessa and Melanie together and maybe keep the family together, it should be interesting to see if they allow her to play that role or they want to keep her just for the sake of, while all this drama's going on, she's the one that kind of alleviates the situation with a few gags, if not scene-stealing moments. So what we're on the fence about is the fact that I'm the type of person who believes in character building and then story building, but with this show, it does story building by giving us everything in the kitchen sink while also throwing in the pipes in there. While the characters, I think, we got the bare minimum about. We know who August is, Dana. We know who Yvette is. We know who Melanie is. We know who Christian is. But we know just them in a very simplified, if not shallow way. Meanwhile, we have these huge grandeur story pieces which we know can reverberate through not just this season but maybe the whole series. And I don't know, I get it's the pilot, so they have to present this major hook, especially since there's so much on TV that they need to have something that keeps people talking on social media and just word of mouth. But by throwing all the big moments that most shows work up to and having that in the pilot and just kind of like dropping it on us, I feel like it sets a bad precedent. For now, how are you going to keep up this energy and drama when you just use some of the biggest storylines that most shows have at their disposal? On top of that, you didn't build up to it, so it kind of leads to the question, is that the pattern you're going to follow? Is it going to be just as much as the characters are reacting to stuff, we have to react to stuff with them as some things just suddenly come about? Never mind, what are we supposed to be invested in? Are we supposed to be invested in the drama that goes on and watching these characters play it out? Or is it supposed to be the characters specifically and feeling for them as you go through these things? Because one of the things I'm worried about is, in my mind, characters are what keeps fans watching. As you go attached to them, want to see good come to them, if not see them get the comeuppance. But if instead we're going to focus on what's going to be big moments that they have to react to, it's not going to be the characters that keep us around. It's going to become the drama. And whether you're talking about drama as in babies coming out of nowhere, competitors trying to buy the winery or whatever, that gets old quick. That doesn't keep you around because more than likely you saw it done in a different way that, depending on your taste, might also be the better way. So, in terms of long-term potential, I'm a bit worried about Kings of Napa figuring out a way to either keep up this drama, or if it does shift things to the characters, not losing all the people who are expecting the next big thing happening over and over again, just escalating to get to the season finale. Our initial impression is it's just too soon to tell where the show may go. It could very much be one of those shows that burns itself out by trying to be the most dramatic thing out there in order to get people's eyes and attention. Or we can look at it as this is just about creating that initial hook, and once they have the people hooked, it's going to play out all these different storylines, make sure to build up its characters, and really show itself to be in line with what we've seen on Home before.